slow motion for me, moving slow motion for me. I'm addicted to her.
Welcome back to Hip Hop Bars and Beats, the home of documentary storytelling for true hip hop fans. If you love the history behind the music, the untold stories, and the facts that many people have forgotten, you're in the right place.
Open my true motherfuckers know this be the realest shit I ever wrote.
Today's countdown isn't simply about great songs. It's about records that became larger than music itself. Looking back, these tracks feel like snapshots taken just before history changed forever. They captured moments, environments, and emotions that would later define the artist's legacies.
I'm sad, I know ya. I'm sad, I know ya.
So turn the volume up, stay until the end, and see if your choice for #1 matches ours. Because the higher we climb this list, the more unbelievable these true stories become. Number 10, the DOC. The formula before the world knew him as one of hip-hop's greatest ghostwriters, the DOC, was being positioned as rap's next superstar. His debut album, No One Can Do It Better, went platinum and proved he was far more than another artist from the NWA camp. He possessed a voice that sounded built for radio, battle rap, and storytelling all at once. Industry insiders believed he could become one of the defining MCs of the 1990s. Then came the formula. The record showcased everything that made him special: sharp lyricism, technical precision, and a confidence that suggested he was only getting started.
It's a must whenever I bust. The funky composition is crushed and I trust it.
Behind the scenes, he was helping shape the sound of artists around him while simultaneously building his own legacy. Few rapper.
In poetry, shipped at the stations, not many people know of me. I'm the
Number 9, Soulja Slim, Slow Motion 2003.
Hold head and I'ma make it get off me. Got a human up disguised with my face.
Long before the rest of America embraced New Orleans rap, Soulja Slim had already become one of its most authentic voices. His music didn't sound polished for radio audiences. It sounded like the streets that shaped him. That honesty earned him respect, but also reflected a life filled with danger long before fame arrived.
She working that back, I don't know how to act, slow motion for me.
His biggest commercial breakthrough came through Slow Motion, a collaboration with Juvenile. Ironically, the record exploded after Soulja Slim's death, becoming one of the defining rap hits of 2004. Millions heard his voice at the exact moment he could no longer witness the success he had worked for.
It's like I got the world in my palms, your girl up under my arm.
Friends and collaborators often described him as someone who refused to hide behind an image. His lyrics drew heavily from real experiences and neighborhood realities. That authenticity made listeners trust him, but it also meant his music carried the weight of actual life rather than fictional storytelling.
And blue, you're riding too. Don't be asking nigga questions about where I'm driving.
On Thanksgiving night in 2003, Soulja Slim was shot and killed outside his mother's home in New Orleans at just 26 years old. His death shocked the city, and when Slow Motion climbed to the top of the charts afterward, the victory felt bittersweet. The song became both a celebration of his talent and a painful reminder that some artists never get to experience the success they helped create.
That I beat up in my home, they wasn't telling the truth, baby, you knew they was wrong.
Number 8, Mac Dre, Feelin' Myself 2004.
I look like Mr. Frankfurt for free, no dough.
By the early 2000s, the Bay Area wasn't waiting for validation from New York or Los Angeles anymore. It had created its own movement, its own sound, its own slang, and one man stood at the center of that cultural explosion, Mac Dre. To his fans, he wasn't simply a rapper. He represented independence, creativity, and the freedom to build an empire without asking permission from the music industry.
Then we can catch the liquor stove in 4-2. We can hit my nigga.
When Feelin' Myself arrived, it perfectly captured that spirit. The record became an anthem for the hyphy movement, celebrating confidence, individuality, and Bay Area culture. But what many casual listeners didn't know was that Mac Dre had already endured years of legal battles, including federal prosecution connected to bank robbery conspiracy case in the early 1990s. Even while incarcerated, he continued writing and recording ideas, refusing to let prison silence his artistic voice.
I live like a rock star running from the cop car. I drop bars.
After his release, he built his own label and business network, proving that independence could succeed on a national level. Artists across Northern California looked to him as both a musician and an entrepreneur. His influence stretched far beyond one hit record. It helped define an entire regional identity that still shapes hip-hop today.
I'm willing to help. Stop it, baby, you're killing yourself. Come on, I got your back.
Then tragedy struck. On November 1, 2004, after performing in Kansas City, Mac Dre was traveling back to his hotel when another vehicle approached and gunfire erupted. He was killed at 34 years old. The case remains unsolved. Today, Feelin' Myself is remembered not only as one of the Bay Area's signature records, but also as the soundtrack of an artist whose cultural impact continued to grow long after his life ended. Number 7, Freaky Ta Renee, 1996.
Here's a tune about this honey named Renee that I met one day.
Some groups succeed because every member is a superstar. Others succeed because each member brings something impossible to replace. That was the magic of the Lost Boys, while Mr. Cheeks often handled the verses. Freaky Ta supplied the energy that connected the group to audiences. His presence transformed performances into celebrations and helped define the chemistry that fans still remember decades later. The group's breakthrough came with Renee, one of hip-hop's most memorable storytelling songs of the 1990s. Inspired by a real-life experience shared by Mr. Cheeks, the record told a tragic love story with emotional honesty that stood apart from many street records of its era. The success of Renee established the Lost Boys as one of Queens' most respected rap groups and demonstrated that vulnerability could resonate just as powerfully as bravado.
I said I got a whole lot to say, so may I walk you to the subway? She said,
as their popularity grew, the group never abandoned the neighborhood identity that shaped them. They spoke openly about Jamaica, Queens, and the realities of their environment. Fans admired that authenticity because it felt genuine rather than manufactured. Their music reflected real friendships, real struggles, and real loyalty. On March 28, 1999, after attending a birthday celebration in Queens, Freaky Ta was shot and killed at the age of 27. His death devastated the Lost Boys and altered the group's future forever. Although Renee continues to receive millions of streams and remains a staple of 1990s hip-hop playlists, it also reminds listeners of a chemistry that could never truly be recreated. Sometimes, the voice that holds a group together isn't always the loudest, but its absence is impossible to ignore. Number 6, Jam Master Jay, Walk This Way, 1986. Before hip-hop became the biggest genre in the world, there were only a handful of artists brave enough to challenge what the industry believed rap could be. Among them stood Jam Master Jay, the legendary DJ of Run DMC, a man whose turntables didn't simply play records, they changed music history. When Run DMC teamed up with Aerosmith for Walk This Way, many people thought the collaboration would fail. Rock fans questioned rap. Rap fans questioned rock. Record executives weren't convinced that the two audiences could ever meet in the middle. But the song became a cultural breakthrough, introducing millions of new listeners to hip-hop and helping prove that the genre belonged on the world's biggest stages.
Bread with it!
Behind the scenes, Jam Master Jay became more than a performer. He mentored young artists, opened recording facilities, and invested his time in helping the next generation find opportunities. Many rising rappers passed through his studio or benefited from his guidance. His influence extended far beyond his own catalog, making him one of the architects of modern hip-hop. Then on October 30, 2002, tragedy struck inside his recording studio in Queens, New York. Jam Master Jay was shot and killed while surrounded by people who knew him. For years, the murder remained one of hip-hop's most famous unsolved cases. Federal indictments would eventually be brought decades later, but the case became a symbol of how silence and fear can complicate justice. Every time Walk This Way plays, listeners remember not only a groundbreaking record, but also a pioneer whose work helped open doors for countless artists who followed. Number 5, Pimp C, International Players Anthem, I Choose You, 2007. Some rappers built careers by avoiding controversy. Pimp C built his reputation by confronting it. Whether in interviews or on records, he spoke his mind with a level of confidence that earned admiration from fans and criticism from others in the industry. To supporters, he represented authenticity. To detractors, he was unpredictable. Either way, he was impossible to ignore. By 2007, UGK had finally reached a level of commercial recognition that many believe should have happened years earlier. Their album Underground Kings debuted at number 1, An international player's anthem, I Choose You, featuring Outkast, quickly became one of the defining hip-hop songs of its era. The record combined soul, lyrical excellence, and timeless production into a classic that still appears on lists of the greatest rap collaborations ever made. Around the same period, Pimp C gave several interviews expressing strong opinions about the music business and the direction of Southern rap. He openly argued that many innovators from the South were not receiving proper recognition for shaping the culture. His comments generated debate throughout hip-hop media, reinforcing his image as someone unwilling to soften his views for industry approval. On December 4, 2007, Pimp C was found dead in a hotel room in West Hollywood at the age of 33. The official findings concluded that his death resulted from the combined effects of promethazine and codeine, together with a severe sleep apnea condition. While numerous theories have circulated over the years, those theories remain unproven. What is beyond dispute is the timing. One of Southern hip-hop's most influential voices had finally reached the commercial summit after years of struggle, only for his life to end at that very moment. Today, International Player's Anthem stands not just as a classic record, but as part of the lasting legacy of an artist who always spoke with conviction.
Chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a fairy.
Number 4, Nipsey Hussle. Last time that I checked, 2018.
Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, and the power in the house cut.
Success changes people. At least, that's what the music industry often says. But Nipsey Hussle spent years proving the opposite. The more successful he became, the more determined he was to invest in the neighborhood that raised him. While many artists celebrated escaping their communities, Nipsey believed real victory meant returning to build something that would outlive him.
Young niggas in the set just doing it makeshift out the garage. How you end up in Georgia?
His 2018 record, Last Time That I Checked, became more than a hit song. It became a statement of independence. The lyrics celebrated ownership, discipline, and resilience after years of grinding outside the traditional music industry system. By then, Nipsey had already become famous for selling limited editions of his mixtapes at premium prices, turning himself into a case study in independent entrepreneurship. The song reflected confidence earned through years of persistence, rather than overnight fame.
Get washed on royalty statements. Black owners in this game are powerful racists.
Outside the studio, he was investing in businesses, technology initiatives, and local economic development in South Los Angeles. Community leaders, artists, and entrepreneurs pointed to him as an example of someone using success to create opportunities for others. His message extended beyond rap music. Build wealth, own your work, and strengthen your community.
Last time that I checked, first you get the money, then respect, and the power in the house cut.
On March 31, 2019, Nipsey Hussle was shot outside his Marathon clothing store in Los Angeles and died at the age of 33. The killing shocked the music world because it happened at the very place he had built to uplift his neighborhood. His death led to an outpouring of grief from fans, civic leaders, and fellow artists across the globe. Today, Last Time That I Checked feels like a mission statement from a man whose vision continues to inspire entrepreneurs and musicians alike. His voice was silenced, but his ideas continue to circulate far beyond the streets that first inspired him. Number 3, the Notorious B.I.G. Juicy, 1994.
Notorious B.I.G. getting juicy.
Every generation has a song that captures the feeling of impossible dreams becoming reality. For hip-hop, that song is Juicy. It wasn't simply about money or fame, it was about transformation. Christopher Wallace took the memories of hardship, family struggle, and ambition and turned them into one of the most recognizable stories ever recorded in rap music. Released in 1994, Juicy introduced listeners to an artist whose storytelling felt cinematic. He spoke about reading magazines, chasing success, and imagining a future that seemed out of reach. Rather than pretending he had always lived comfortably, he embraced the difficult realities of his upbringing. That honesty helped establish him as one of the defining voices of East Coast hip-hop during a period of extraordinary creativity. By early 1997, however, Biggie's career existed alongside growing tensions that have become known as the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. In interviews, he expressed interest in moving beyond conflict and focusing on music and business. His second album, Life After Death, was completed and positioned to become one of the biggest releases in rap history. Friends and collaborators described an artist looking toward the next stage of his life and career.
Up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used.
On March 9, 1997, after attending events surrounding the Soul Train Music Awards in Los Angeles, the notorious B.I.G. was shot and killed while riding in a vehicle. He was 24 years old. The murder remains officially unsolved despite decades of investigations, books, documentaries, and reporting. Numerous theories have been discussed publicly over the years, but no definitive judicial resolution has established who was responsible. 18 days later, Life After Death was released and became one of the most celebrated albums in hip-hop history. Listening to Juicy today, fans hear not only a success story, but also the optimism of a young artist who believed his greatest accomplishments still lay ahead.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Number 2, Tupac Shakur, Against All Odds, 1996.
Like ugly, it was written. Hey, nah, your whole damn style is written. You heard my melody.
There are diss records, and then there are records that become historical documents. By the time Tupac Shakur recorded Against All Odds, he was no longer speaking in vague references or clever hints. He was naming names, addressing betrayals as he saw them, and telling listeners exactly how he felt about people and situations that had defined one of hip-hop's most turbulent eras.
Grown folks talking, nigga, close your mouth. Beat me, I take this war shit deep.
To understand the song, you have to understand Tupac himself. He was an artist, actor, poet, and activist whose upbringing was shaped by political awareness. His mother, Afeni Shakur, had been a member of the Black Panther Party and successfully defended herself and others in the Panther 21 trial. Tupac often spoke publicly about inequality, policing, the justice system, and the exploitation of black artists. His interviews were frequently as memorable as his music.
All out warfare, eye for eye, last words to a bitch nigga.
Released as part of the Don Killuminati, the 7-Day Theory, Against All Odds became one of the most direct and controversial songs of his career. It intensified ongoing disputes and demonstrated his willingness to say publicly what many others would only discuss privately. Whether listeners agreed with him or not, nobody questioned his fearlessness.
You live in fantasies, nigga, I reject your deposit. We should trade punk ass.
On September 7, 1996, after attending the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon boxing match in Las Vegas, Tupac was shot while riding in a vehicle. He died 6 days later on September 13 at the age of 25. In 2023, authorities announced criminal charges against Dwayne "Kef D" Davis in connection with the case, marking a major development in an investigation that had remained unresolved for decades. Even so, many questions surrounding the broader circumstances continue to be debated publicly. What is certain is that Tupac left behind a body of work that still influences artists across the world. Against All Odds remains a reminder of an artist who refused to soften his voice, even when speaking carried enormous consequences.
Against all odds, up in the studio, getting blow. Just true as shit.
Number 1, XXXTentacion, Sad, 2018. Every generation has an artist who seems to speak directly to the emotions that many people struggle to express. For millions of young listeners in the streaming era, that artist was XXXTentacion. His music blended hip-hop, rock, melody, and vulnerability into something that resonated with an audience searching for honesty rather than perfection.
I'm sad, I know, yeah. God gave her.
When Sad was released in 2018, it explored heartbreak, loneliness, and emotional conflict. The song's haunting tone stood apart from many mainstream rap records of the time. It became one of his biggest commercial successes, connecting deeply with listeners who saw their own struggles reflected in its lyrics.
You decide if you're ever gonna let me know. Yeah, suicide.
His career, however, was also marked by controversy and legal challenges, and public opinion about him remained sharply divided. At the same time, his musical influence continued to expand, with his innovative style helping shape a new generation of artists. Regardless of where listeners stood on his legacy, few denied the impact his music had on millions of fans around the world.
Yeah, suicide if you ever try to let go.
On June 18, 2018, XXXTentacion was shot and killed during a robbery outside a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach, Florida. He was just 20 years old. Following his death, Sad climbed to the top of the charts, making him one of the few artists to achieve a posthumous #1 hit in the streaming era. The song became more than a commercial success. It became a lasting symbol of how quickly promise can turn into loss. His story reminds us that talent can leave an extraordinary mark even when time is painfully short.